In today's video, I am going to be breaking down to you how I make $922 a month on average on dividends. Let's get down, let's check this out. So I'm on a really cool website right now called trackyourdividends.com. This is not a sponsored video at all. This is just 100% a cool website that I found, and it tracks your dividends. You can input your own stocks yourself, and it's actually quite useful. You can also allow it to connect to your other trading apps that you have, so that then it can be just easily updated right away without you having to manually put it in. It's kind of cool. However, as we can see here, $11,069 is the annual income from the dividends. Now, the stocks that I have in here is across 3 different trading apps, and that's why I really like this website. You can just have everything into one website easily without having to flip between different apps if you're like me and have multiple trading apps. From there, it does show yield on cost, which is the average dividend that I basically bought into, versus the 4.24% I have dividend yield on the current value. This yield on cost would be yield on the purchase price, while dividend yield is the yield on the current stock price. And then portfolio data, or beta, is basically going to be nothing to do with a dividend at all. Basically, it means if the S&P 500 went up $1, then I should go up about 95 cents. And you'll generally see that being lower on stocks and ETFs that are really dividend oriented. So the top of my list is actually one of my two of my favorites, TXF, which is the First Asset Tech Giants covered call, as well as ZWK, and that is the BMO covered call US Banks ETF. Now from there, TXF, that pays $4.99 per year, while ZWK pays $1,432 per year. Very high dividend paying stocks. Now this website shows that it's a 10.5% dividend. It's actually 11.5%, while the ZWK is correct onto what they are saying. And everything else is correct. The only thing I've seen the mistake on is TXF, but whatever, it doesn't matter right now. ZWC is the next one. It's the high dividend covered call Canadian. That's the one that shows the Canadian stocks, and or has the Canadian stocks, and it's a covered call ETF as well. And that pays $396 a year for the 300 shares. And then ZWH is the next one. ZWH is very interesting. I personally really like that one, even though I don't have as many shares of it. And that is the BMO US High Dividend Covered Call. Basically, it holds the bigger US companies that some do pay a dividend, some others don't. However, the main idea behind that one is the covered call strategy, which will allow you to get the bigger yield. And as we can see, 6.5% is pretty good, $264 per year. Next is HMMJ, and HMMJ is actually very, very interesting. So this is an ETF that holds marijuana stocks, and it pays a dividend, which is quite interesting. Now with HMMJ, the idea behind this one is you get paid a dividend not from the stock dividends themselves, but from the people who are shorting the marijuana stocks. Marijuana stocks are heavily shorted, and because of that, basically what that ETF does is basically it loans out the shares that you and them currently own, and then they loan them out for companies or basically anyone to short them. And then obviously there's short interest. You get an interest back from every time that they're shorting that stock, and basically you can hold that stock. Eventually they're going to be buying it back anyways, right, to give it back to you. Meanwhile, you can collect that short interest from that. So basically, yes, you are holding the stocks. You currently own the stocks, which they're going to be going up hugely anyways into the future. But at the same time, you can collect the dividend. Basically, when the marijuana stocks go down, it's because people are shorting them, or people are selling them, and people are shorting them essentially. And at that point, you can make your money back from people shorting it, waiting for the stocks to go up. and then for the stocks to be bought back, given back to you. You still own the stocks. You've basically joined in with the club of the acceleration, but at the same time, you're making that money back on the short, which is fantastic. And that one pays $58 a year to me. CIBC is, of course, a stock, and that one is CIBC, and $26.80 a year is very, very good. This one, for where I purchased it, on average is 5.4%, but currently sitting at just around 4%. ZWA is another interesting one. That is the Dow Jones covered call by BMO. Basically, it holds some of the biggest Dow Jones companies, and then it's able to run a covered call strategy against those stocks, which is very, very good. Pays a pretty high dividend as well, $2.40 a year to me. Bank of Nova Scotia is the next one. We all know, you've probably seen my videos, BNS. Bank of Nova Scotia is a very favorite of mine right now. Currently pays me 4.5%, technically 4.9% from where I purchased it, which equals $13.68 per year. ZDV, the BMO Canadian Dividend ETF. This is not a covered call strategy, and this one pays around 4% right now, $4.68 per year for me. And all of these BMO ETFs that you're listening to me talk about, they all mostly pay every single month. HMMJ is a Horizons ETF, and that one pays every quarter, and it's totally different every quarter. While TXF pays every quarter as well, and it's different every quarter as well. I also have TD, BMO National Bank, and all of those pay. TD pays me $13.14, and then National Bank, or BMO pays me $13.40, TD pays me $16.74, National Bank pays me $5.68. BlackRock pays $74. I don't have many stocks of that, but I just made a video very recently on purchasing that stock. It's pretty good. I didn't buy a ton of it. I just bought a little bit, but it is going to be a very big grower, I think, into the future. ZSP is a quarterly dividend payer. It pays me basically nothing versus what the others are paying me. However, I use ZSP, I've mentioned in a previous video, to hold my money until I decide to buy stocks. And ZQQ is something, again, very small, pays a very small dividend, but for ZQQ, I'm using it for growth. And if you're wondering what it takes to get that kind of a dividend every single month, there is my numbers right there. So currently, this is including not just the dividend stocks, this is also including stuff like I have CRISPR now, as well as, so this is a little bit of an update, I guess I could say, as well as Carnival. I've had Carnival for a while, as you know. Sundial and Tesla, they don't pay a dividend. But altogether, $274,717, up $1,117 today. And the total, since I invested in these current companies, is a total gain of basically $54,000. I hope that this video helps you. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe. I hope you have enjoyed, giving you some motivation. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys again in my next video.